Hello, everybody. How are we all doing today? Hoping incredibly well. Yeah, it's a Friday evening. It's Friday. I thought I was going to get more flashbang by that. It's the shush music. It's the specifically Friday evening before a Leeds United match, and that makes it a little bit more exciting, doesn't it? That's a little bit of zest, a little bit of verve. Makes things absolutely fascinating. But that's not what this stream is for. This stream is to discuss all of the various bits of transfer news and bits and bobs that have happened over the past week or so. In addition to a little bit of a preview towards tomorrow, I'm not going to delve into tomorrow's match too much, almost entirely because I will be completely honest with you, I'm doing a video on that in the morning because I can't think of what else to do a video on tomorrow morning. I will be doing a vlog of the match tomorrow that is potentially going to be out in the evening, depending on how quickly I'm able to edit it all together. I'll also need to do thumbnails and all that kind of stuff, probably on the train, because I think it's going to be a job of arrive in Leeds, go to match, and then I need to be home by like the night because work is. Let's have a look. Actually, can I do this without accidentally showing off my entire work schedule? Because that seems like a good idea to me. Yeah, there we go. I start work relatively early on Sunday morning, which you kind of want to avoid the chaos. Where am I sitting tomorrow? It's in the east stand, but towards the north side of it, so it's not in the corner. It's sort of like goal line-ish. Don't know specifically where. It's my brother that's got the tickets, so it's quite difficult to say specifically. But yes, I'm gonna start the transfery little bit of conversation with a little bit of conversation about everyone's third or fourth or fifth favourite Leeds United related Joe, Mr. Gelhardt, Mr. Joffy Gelhardt, who played a fairly significant role in the past, in which he stopped us getting completely annihilated when it came to that one season that he and Rafinha kept us up. Which everyone's like, cool, fantastic, what a lad. We love Joe Gelhardt. He's so cool. But then in the years since, things have gone in a less good direction for him, leading to Rangers now being in talks with Leeds over a permanent deal for Joe Gelhardt. Now, as things go, in terms of is this good or bad for his long-term prospects at Leeds United, I think there couldn't be anything worse for Joe Gelhardt in terms of being able to stay at Leeds. But then again, this was always going to happen. We all sort of knew that this was coming. In terms of fee and estimated numbers that will be around this deal, the sort of figures that I have heard and been aware of and sort of have been pointed in my general direction are in the £4 to £5 million range. That would make sense in my opinion, because if you have a look at the wider sort of everything around Leeds United and stories relating to the club this window, almost everything has pointed to the fact that the Gelhardt, the Greenwood, and the JB will all look to be sold for £4 to £5 million. That's the messaging that came out of the club. And if you have a look at some more behind the scenesy bits and specifically the Rangers ownership, you might think, okay, it's going to be quite hard for us to not get that from them, because when it comes to it, if we want £4 to £5 million and we're buying a player effectively from ourselves, that kind of tells you what the ballpark figure is going to be. I will be honest, when it comes to Gelhardt stuff, I'm not particularly bothered in terms of what the fee is. I think I agree with Dr. Cox on what he said in the most recent comments, where 4 million would probably be enough. I like him, he's a good kid, he's got a good attitude, but he's never kicked on. And really, when you're in a position where you're trying to stay in the Premier League fairly consistently, or you're trying to push for promotion out of the Championship, he's not a high enough standard of player to be able to, like, stick around. If we're looking at signing the likes of Rodrigo Muniz and we're getting Lucas Mecha on a free, keeping Joe Gelhardt on 15k a week doesn't seem to be a move that makes sense. 750 grand a year, not necessarily the best place to be investing that money. Sam Greenwood is a worse spend of money. We all recognise this because he's on 30 grand a week, so that's £1.5 billion every single year. But regardless, both of those players will be on the way out this summer. I assume we've not heard much around Greenwood, but I think Rangers is a very good move for Gelhardt. He showed that he's still got a little bit of that verve, a little bit of that vigour and the ability to sort of change a game when he was over at Hull. But yeah, I think it's not the worst of moves for us, and it's not the worst of moves for him, and Rangers could do with a forward that's got something a little bit different about them, and I think everyone wins in this deal. So it's a shame, and I really wish that he would have kicked on a little bit more when he was at the club, but it wasn't to be. Which sucks, but it's fine. Also, who are you calling a snitch? I'm calling Nikki a snitch, and you know exactly why. First and second favourite Joe. That's a good question. Trying to think of other. Rodon is first, and then you got me and Wayneman, in whichever order you guys want. There's your 1, 2, and 3. But Rodon is immovable at the top of the list of Joes. 5 million with add-ons will get the job done. Good luck to him, he's been professional throughout. I don't think 5 million with add-ons is necessarily going to happen. I think 5 is likely to be the number that we're looking at. I think if you're sort of asking for add-ons with a player that hasn't necessarily done too good when he's been at Leeds, it's probably not a great idea. Hold on 1 second. Snitch is present. Hey, hello, Snitch. I've seen some account on Twitter claiming Harrison to Everton on loan. I wouldn't mind that, to be honest. We kind of need Harrison not here. Because if Harrison is here, then we're just going to end up with the narrative continuing. And I'll be honest, you guys know my position when it comes to the narrative. Because I think Jack Harrison is... What's the kindest way of putting this? An absolute spunk trumpet. But... He's one that we need to actually find a move for. So it gets a little bit difficult to get him to force that move if he doesn't want to. What I'm going to do, very quickly by the way, ahead of the match tomorrow, is I thought it'd be fun to do a little bit of preview stuff, specifically surrounding what I think the lineup is going to be. To be completely clear with you, I think said lineup is going to change from half to half. I don't believe that any player will get the entire match, because that would be a little bit silly of us, because that would be putting a little bit much pressure on. Hang on, I want to see if I can balance that. There we go. In fact, I'll just put that there. There we go. Sorry, I'm currently faffing with Canva, which I know isn't the most fascinating of content, but, you know, you got to do it sometimes, haven't you? It's just to make sure that I get this predicted lineup thing done. Right, paste that. You go there. Thank you. Bosh. And then I'll take you, and I will take you. Why won't you both copy? There we go. Copy and paste. You see, you can tell that I'm not necessarily good at doing graphic things, because I do this and I just get confused. But that's just who I am. Naturally confused. Right, squidge you out there a bit. Nice. Squidge you out there a bit. Nice. There's also been not much in terms of updates surrounding El Canoes. El Canoes would have been a very, very nice deal to get across the line right now. But I'm going to set my predictions for him on the table now. And I will say that this deal for El Canoes, whether he comes to Leeds, whether he goes to Palace, whether he goes to Leipzig, will not be wrapped up before at the very least the 10th. I would probably guess the 15th. He's going to wait to get as many offers on the table as he possibly can, and then he will pick on the date that what's the word? Release clause, there it is, expires. In the event that Leeds and Palace and Leipzig all put their case forward to him beforehand, then yeah, sure, I can see the move happening prior to that. But I think in general, probably not going to be a thing. It's going to be a while before we find out anything specific on El Canoes, because the only reason we found out the news yesterday was because I believe El Canoes wanted the news to be known, so he could have a little bit of a better negotiating position, which is fair enough. I understand that that's sort of his agent's job, but I don't know. Hey Joe, anywhere you'd like to visit in Hull? I don't particularly want to visit Hull. Is there a nice museum? I know they've got the Deep, but beyond that, does anyone with anything to do with Hull have anything to recommend about Hull? I don't know. Mr. Yorkshire Monkey says 49ers are quiet means something's coming. Watch this space. You can watch this space, or you can listen to a delicious can of Iron Brew. Oh, had fish and chips for tea, specifically scampi. So it's a good time. Matt Lees would rather keep Harrison than give Everton an extra player. I don't know. The road out. Nice. There's a nice lookout near the Humber Bridge. Ooh. I'm sure it's a spectacular view. Then again, you've got to be in Hull, and no one wants to be in that rough area. Just thought, wouldn't it be a better idea to loan the guy to the Scottish team? I say, same Greenwood plan for season to try and boost his value. I don't know. I don't think you necessarily boost their value. Matt, I would mainly... Dr. Cox, no need. You're not wrong, but no need. Matt, I wouldn't necessarily say that Isak staying for now is good for us. Purely because... Sure, Newcastle are looking at Isak as the replacement, but they're also potentially looking at signing Ollie Watkins, which are both good moves for them. Let's not get that twisted. But I don't know. It feels like until Isak leaves, which he's going to do, that's not a question. It's going to make the entire situation a little bit more complicated. And I don't want things to be complex. I want simplicity. Because I'm a simple person. I'm an idiot. We all know this. And just sometimes this stupid football club makes things more challenging than they need to be. On the note of more challenging, I'm going to do something incredibly stupid right now. Okay? And I'm not going to do my full rundown of predicted lineup or anything like that. But I am going to do the predicted lineup. That is exactly what I'm going to do. But I'm not going to run through the absolutely everything that you need to look out for, because that is going to be the video that comes out in the morning. Please watch the video that comes out in the morning. Matchday stuff tends to do a little bit worse. So any help that you could offer would be absolutely wonderful. But let's predict a lineup, shall we? So, in net, I think we all agree it is going to be Lucas Perry, right? There's no question mark around this. It's going to be Lucas Perry for the first half at the very least, followed up by Cardallo. Melier will not get any more minutes, in my opinion. I don't think. I'm not certain. Somebody timestamp that. What are we timestamping? I don't know. Joe Blackburn will make Blackpool great again. Let's not link me to him, please. But yeah, I'm going to go Perry as the starter. I'm going to go Darlow as our sort of player that comes on in the second half. Centre-backs. I think we're going to start the match tomorrow with what will be our ideal first team lineup. So this isn't accounting for the fact that we have a suspension on Beal. Beal, I believe, will start anyway. But Strout comes on off the bench. This is where things get tricky, right? I think Jayden Bogle starts. I think it will be on LUTV, but it might be a match pass job. So it'll be about a £5 or something like that, I'm not sure. But I'm there myself, so that's not my problem this time. Hee. And I think second half is also going to be Bogle. I think Bogle gets both halves. I think you called yourself an idiot a few minutes ago. Oh, I always do that. That's not news. That's just what I do. And then on the other flank, we will have Goodmanson. And I think Byram comes on that flank. Because we don't have a... I think it's DAZN free also. What? Is it? I severely doubt that it's free on DAZN. I like your thinking, because if it is, I'm in a very good spot here. But I don't think so. I can have a look for you. In midfield, I think Ampadu starts. Ampadu will definitely start, in my opinion. He'll come off for Gruev. Then on the other side, I think Stack starts. With Tanaka coming off the bench at half-time. In front of that, I think we go with Longstaff to start with. And Aronson comes off the bench. In the wide areas, for me, I reckon it's going to be Daniel James, who will be replaced by Willie Nonto at half-time. And on the other flank, I think Ramazani starts. And if I get proven wrong, I will be depressed because fizzing disdain for Jack Harrison will remain forever. And based on an interesting fact that I found out recently, where Joel Peru has only missed one match when he's available for Leeds United in his Leeds United career, I'm having him starting and then being replaced by Mecha. So that is what I would go with. That would be my stab in the dark. If it's wrong, it's wrong. But that's sort of my prediction. I want to know what people think, though. In fact, I'm gonna do a very quick poll. How much of my predicted 11 is correct? Will it be 11 players? Will it be 8 to 10 players? Will it be 5 to 7 players? Or will it be 4 or less? Moron. Bosh. I think if Harry plays, it'll be for a fairly short amount of time at the end of the game. I don't think he plays for an extended period. If Chambers plays, I think he does the out-of-position job again and sort of replaces Bogle at the end of the match just because Bogle's fatiguing. But I don't necessarily see that being what we see. What time's kickoff? It is a 3 o'clock kickoff, and there is the new start procedure thing that they are doing, that they are testing, because everyone... can I just call you a moron with that? But no, you need to do it democratically. That's the only way that we can call people morons now. So, the Premier League have done their thing, where they walk into a situation and think, in what way can we make everything worse? In this specific case, their way of making everything worse was, what if, right? Ow. There we go. Sorry, I've got crunchy knuckles right now. What if, right, everyone loves the Champions League thing. What if we made a worse version of that? And you might look at this, dear viewer, and you might think, why would you do that? That's the stupidest thing you could possibly do. And you would be correct. That is an incredibly stupid thing to do. But the Premier League have done it. So they are rejigging the order of sort of pre-match songs that happen. It will now be, I believe, Fanfare for the Common Man, which... How much can I play before I get demonetized? Oh, isn't that a question? I'll see if I can do a couple minutes. No. No. That one. That one. And then it goes into Strings for Yasmin, and then it'll be the Premier League anthem, and then it'll be All Love Marching On Together. Which is good, which is nice. And it means that there's not too much bad disruption and all that kind of stuff. But, I don't know. Yeah, it's a bit like the dressing room cameras thing. It's a little bit pointless, and I don't know why it's happening. Other than it's a sort of amplify the product and all that kind of faff. And it's like, as someone that also works in, like, football broadcasting stuff, I get it, but at the same time, if all you're doing is pissing off the stakeholders, as they seem to be doing, then there's no real benefit to you. Because you're just sort of adding more strain to yourself. It feels weird. Right, I'm going to have a quick check for the Leeds match to see if you're right about it being live on DAZN. I don't think it is. Because if it is, and I don't know about it, I'm going to be devastated. Because why did no one tell me that? RB Leipzig, Atalanta, F1, Rally Finland, Bradford versus Wickham, nice. Barnet versus Fleetwood, nice. What market's that? Japan. Okay, that makes sense. No, I don't see the Villarreal match. So it will just be an LUTV job. And that is like globally. That's not a thing that exists anywhere. Tell me what film. I'm a little bit curious. Games on Premier Sports Plus Live. Ah, okay. You see, I've never sort of grabbed onto the Premier Sports Plus side of things, so I'm just gonna stick with it's on LUTV, go that route, because I want the club to like me. Hehe. Good stuff. The fans can drown out the Premier League theme. You suggest I predict a riot. I don't think we're quite gonna be that loud. Like it's a pre-season friendly at the end of the day, and it would take a hell of a lot of work to coordinate that many people to start I predict a riot at the exact same time. What I imagine happens instead is just boo for an extended period. And then you get into the good stuff, like the stuff that you like to do. Have any changes in the last 10 years of football made things better? PSR and VAR and are two of the worst things to happen to football. Disagreed. Mainly from the VAR perspective, because everyone will look at the occasional calls that VAR get wrong. But having just spent a couple of seasons in the Championship and having dealt with the refereeing down there, I reckon if there's VAR, we get promoted like 3 or 4 weeks earlier. We're promoted by Easter. Wait, weren't we promoted by Easter? You know what I mean? We're promoted stupidly early. Because the number of like complete horseshit calls that go against you in the EFL is ridiculous. And any basic level of VAR would have been able to look at that and go, that's a bit stupid. Yeah, that's my broad sort of stance on it. Is there's this as well. The number of goals that we had disallowed last season that were completely fine goals because the referee was like, I don't know, something might have been wrong. I was like, no, it fucking wasn't. Everything was completely fine with that goal, and you've disallowed it because you want to feel like you're doing something. The referee wants to feel like a big man. Well, Sodom, whatever. They could do whatever they want, but they're wrong. Pub refs in the Championship. Honestly, I think the Championship, the referee for the charity match did better than most Championship referees. And a lot of the time, the reason that people aren't a fan of VAR is the way that it is implemented rather than the fact that it is implemented at all. The fact that like VAR exists is not a problem because every single other sport that you can think of does VAR properly. Look at cricket as an example. The way that VAR works in cricket through the review system is great. And everyone knows what's happening at all given times. And everything is safe and happy and good and fun. And it all works for the benefit of the game. And then you look at football, where it's not for the benefit of the game, it's for the benefit of the referee's public image. At least 99% of the time. It will be a case of, yeah, good job, lads. We've agreed with the on-pitch ref's decision, so he won't get complained at. And it's like, that doesn't help anything. All you're doing is making more people angry. Because, yeah, in the short term, they're not as mad as the referee on the pitch because the people in the stadium, they can't see what happened with the VAR check, which in itself is stupid. But the moment they do see that replay, they go, what the fuck is that? Why did you... And then the anger kicks in, and all you've done is you've let that frustration boil, and people's sense of justice is just out of the window, because it's like, well, we should have had something there, and you took it from us, entirely to protect your best mate on the football pitch. Why? Yeah, this as well. In rugby league, it's used really, really well. But they don't do it in football because reasons. Like, even just like switching it to a review system where it's not the clear and obvious bollocks. Sod it. You get 2 reviews in a match. And if you're successful, you get to keep your review. If you are unsuccessful, you lose your review. Simplifies things a little bit. And it means that you're not dealing with the, yeah, but did VAR look at it? And if they looked at it, were they looking at the right thing? And all that nonsense. No, it gets you into a situation where, like, a situation where you feel like there's a bit of an injustice, you can say, can you have a look at that? Because at the moment it's a case of, if it's not going to be considered a straight red card, we're not going to bother, or a penalty, or specifically relating to a goal. And there is so much egregious stuff that happens throughout football matches that just isn't even considered or isn't even looked at. So sometimes you will see a corner kick that everyone in the stadium can see as a corner. Everyone that's watching on the TV can see as a corner. The only people that can't are the linesman and the referee. And it's like, well, if you would be able to say, in fact, can you actually have a look at that because you're wrong? And then cool, you've got your review back, it works. Yeah. Managers should have 2 calls per match where they can take it to review like in tennis. Yeah. Like tennis, like cricket. And sure, there are probably complexities that I've not thought about with that, but at the same time, it's not a completely broken system, like the one that we have now, so why not at least give it a look? Why not at least give it a think, a consider? I don't know. Because I'm very happy we're back in the Premier League, not only because of like VAR or anything, because we're against better sides at the moment, but so infuriating that for the past 2 years it's just been constantly like, and have we dropped points here because of us, or have we dropped points here because of a referee? And the fact that we're going into a league with VAR and we are still going to be like, is this our fault or is this on the referee, is nuts. Because you just can't trust the system a lot of the time. That's a little bit depressing. I don't know. Anyway, I'm not going to stream for too long today, because I was going to do a fairly short one to be like, cool, I've done a stream today because I'm trying to do a daily stream and a video. So this was going to go down as that of the streams, and I did a video earlier. But I'm going to hang out for a little bit more of a chat. And then in terms of redirect, are we feeling only Leeds Bros? Because they're here at the moment. Rugby league use is not great. Infield ref has to make a judgment, and the video ref has to disprove the infield decision. It can take ages and absolutely does not. Yeah, that's fair. I think I'm going to use cricket as the better example. Spurs set Solomon price at less than 20 million. Is it correct or just BS? I've not seen anything about Solomon, actually. I've not seen anything about Manor Solomon for quite some time. I don't see anything about him and transfers at the moment, so I don't know. Sorry, I'd love to be more useful with this specific bit, but I genuinely can't tell you. Birmingham versus Ipswich will be a cracker. It probably will. Is it? Is it all of the EFL this weekend, or is it just League 1 and League 2? I think it's just League 1, League 2. Because I know that Leicester versus Sheffield Wednesday, which is absolutely not a game that's happening, by the way, is next weekend, and I think that's the opening one of the season. Off the top of my head, maybe. League 1 and 2, okay. Lovely, thank you for letting me know. Championship next week, I think. Okie dokie. Ta-duck. Right, anyway. I'm feeling a little bit low energy, I've got to be honest with you. So I'm going to bring the stream to a close there, and I'm going to pop you over in the direction of Only Leeds Bros, where we are going to spam. Let's think of something. I don't know. I can't think of anything. I'm struggling. Donkey Kong. Why would we say Donkey Kong? No, we're not gonna say Donkey Kong. What? What does that even? Why? Why would we say Donkey Kong? Okay. So, my request of all of you guys is that we hop over there. We all pop a like on the stream, every single one of us. B, we subscribe if we're not already subscribed. And C, we just pop in without any context. We don't say that it's like a JB raid or anything like that. We don't allude to me being there in the slightest. No. It's not going to be anything that makes sense. It's just going to be something that confuses them. All in lowercase, no further context, not as part of a sentence. Just the word cheese. You can spam it a couple of times if you want, but just the word cheese. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave the stream there. It will automatically redirect you over to Only Leeds Bros, which should be absolutely wonderful. And if I don't see a wave of cheese in the chat, I'm going to be very, very disappointed. And if they're able to work out that it was me, I'll be very disappointed in you guys. So, hope you all enjoyed. No, not cheddar cheese, just cheese. Plus, you put punctuation there, and it's not all lowercase. See? We're learning. Anyway, hope you enjoyed, and I will see you later. Toodaloo.